Welcome and hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. Hello and welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. Gracias a todos for your kind attention, for tuning in to this monumental, groundbreaking broadcast of Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more, guys. Today was a sort of a I don't know how to describe this Thursday. It was, started out a little low. Everything kind of came up. S&P was up a little bit, half a point. Dow was up half a point. NASDAQ was down half a point. The Russell was up over 1%. Um, and volatility was down. Fear was down. Gold was back up. It's just kind of, you have to be invested at this point because, you're looking at this tech trade that's just not going away. That's sort of, you could say the larger tech trade, digital revolution, is now being fueled largely by the AI trade. But I don't think AI is a trade. I think AI is a revolution. I think AI is going to be just as important, just as monumental, just as groundbreaking as the whole internet, could even be more so in terms of the, direct impact on people's daily lives, because the internet is largely not, physical. You can order stuff on the internet, but you don't got a robot, making your bed like you might, as the AI revolution takes hold. So I think the changes that happen in society and the economy, transportation, production, service, it could be, we could be living in a completely different world in 5 to 10 years, and there will be winners and there will be losers in terms of public companies. But it's certainly fun to speculate. And if you're right, you could really make life changing generational wealth, because the world is just changing faster than ever before. Everything's accelerating, leads to these insane opportunities, especially if you can kind of pick out things that the market is just underestimating, undervaluing, or intentionally maligning, I think, with, false charges. Um, if you can pick these things out and you can play these swings, especially if you're adept at utilizing options and leverage and things of that. But even if you're not, even if you're just more conservative and just buy shares, hopefully sell some covered calls, buy the shares utilizing cash secured puts, you can learn how to do that very, very easily, on the interweb. It's all there for you. It's all free. So take advantage of basic option strategies. It'll just, basically lower your costs on all your stock. And while stocks are tending to move sideways a lot, as you've noticed, if you look at the Sofi 50-day simple moving average, it's basically a horizontal line. So that's how well this thing's being controlled. So just want to run through, talk about some of these stocks, what I'm seeing on the charts, how that relates to upcoming, catalysts, fundamentals, what's going on in the overall world. I mean, you see, there's just a lot of opportunity here. It's not just the AI trade. A lot of people are excited about oil and energy stocks and domestic producers and midstream stocks. A lot of people like healthcare and utilities, especially healthcare right now, for the safety and some growth and a good return. Consumer stuff is always up and down. Target was in the toilet and Target's up, and then Home Depot's in the toilet and Home Depot was up. I remember just a year ago or whatever it was, nobody wanted to touch the banks, and now JP Morgan, Bank of America, and others, you just made huge gains inside of those stocks. So you can make money in a lot of sectors. The economy, it's not growing, I don't think, extremely rapidly, but I think the U.S. economy, the U.S. worker is very innovative, very resilient. There's just constant innovation. I mean, I was just reading an article about the future in terms of Google and how they're shaping up to monetize AI in the next 10 to 20 years. How Microsoft is basically, a lot of people think Microsoft is the safest play to get to a lot of returns with the AI spend, because they're so embedded in the business world. Microsoft is inside of every university, every institution, every company, every government, every level of government. Microsoft is just in there. So they're embedding Copilot in everything, and they're convincing a lot of people, that it's extremely useful and, a great tool and efficiency. So a lot of people are, willing to pay for it. But be that as it may, I like Microsoft. I like Google. Google just doubled, where Microsoft just came down off 560. Now it's trading, I think, around 470. So, I never like to buy anything after it runs way up. Frank Schoenberg does not like Microsoft. Okay. Let's see. We don't need subs. Subs are for the vein. I will drink some water though. I can do that. Let's see, guys. That was, of course, the great J Money, great Not a Lurker, coming at you on the text line. Let's see. When SoFi hits $50 a share, I use my profits to buy Greenland. I won't have to invest in mining companies because I will own the rare earth minerals. Steve is he has a master plan that even Dr. Evil would envy. I like it, Steve. Let's see. Bought another 1,000 shares of SMCI. Just seems to be, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about in that video. This video, DSDS, is how they're just banging the stocks off of these trend lines over and over. I mean, there was a pattern basically where a lot of these stocks kind of broke out. They were going up and then they broke out of a key level sort of in August. And then they raced up and hit sort of all-time highs, or at least recent all-time highs, depending on the stock and how it behaved before. Like a stock like NIO ran up to 8, but of course all-time highs like 70. But recent all-time highs, give me a little rope. Let me hang myself. Willing suspension of disbelief, folks. Pretend I make sense. Pretend there's some sort of cogent thematic meter to the show or whatever. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. What's going on, Flint Creek Soap Company? What's happening, everybody? Lisa SH is here. Let's see who else is here. Nobody. Frank the Tank is here. What's up, Frank Tank? Of course, the great Carl Seamark, the Mattress King of Chicago. Frank Schoenberg, love energy stocks, prop. Yeah, I really like prop right now. Love prop right now. We got George Wallace. Does it worry you at all that SoFi is doing earnings on a Friday? And said, no, I mean, they're doing it pre-market on a Friday, which to me is like kind of I think it's an FU to the bears and the shorts and, the people that keep playing retail on options. You see them push down every single Friday. So I don't know. I don't really think pre-market Friday suggests weakness. I mean, if they were reporting after the bell on Friday, yeah, I mean, that seems like they're kind of, running and hiding a little bit, but I don't know. It doesn't worry me now. Let's see, guys. One moment though. Let's see what's going on here. Hold on one sec, guys. Be right back. Sorry, guys. Welcome and hello and welcome. It's Poco Moss. They call me Little Danny Cornbread DiCarlo because I'm moist, I'm doughy, and I crumble under pressure. So I don't know what we were talking about before. We're reading some comments, but yeah, let's just kind of run through these because, I mean, you have a lot of these stocks kind of hanging out. You saw in some cases, some pretty severe retracements. Some cases it was more mild, but then a lot of the stocks are basing. And if you look at, what SoFi is doing, it's pretty crazy. I mean, recently look at what happens here. So you see this very defined wedge, making higher lows and lower highs, very explosive, type of setup, in my opinion. And then you see something like fascinating here. This is just the second the stock touches the lower line here at 24.75. The very next day, it breaks all the way through the upper line and touches, whatever that was, almost 30, I think, 29.86. And then the very next day again, it not only, touches the high in the wedge, but also the low. So this thing is bouncing off the high and the low like a, Super Ball in an outhouse or something. And the only conclusion I could draw, it's completely false volatility. I mean, whenever you see these crazy volumes, 120 million volume, based on what? Based on nothing. Based on closing and offering, and then a call from a resumption of his rating from Mahir at Bank of America, a guy who's just, these guys rate SoFi too often. I mean, that's why it's like, I don't believe there's any that much honest analysis. Like if you're chasing the stock this much and you're this wrong and you're rating the stock as a sell a dozen times, so the stock goat made the point. There's only 4 ERs a year. Unless something extraordinary happens, there's usually no reason a good analyst is going to rate and re-rate more than, 5 to 6 times. Maybe a couple extraordinary events happen during the year. Well, they'll reiterate or they'll change their rating or they'll change their price target. But for the most part, any analyst worth their salt is mostly responding to the ER, not to these, sort of fleeting, transient narratives that float through the media like, Forrest Gump, something floating on the wind or whatever, Yeah, you can definitely catch the return on this one. Let's see, guys. What's everybody? Any thoughts on SOFIs, including the S&P? I think it's going to happen this year. I just don't know when. I mean, a lot of people think March. The S&P really can make you wait. I mean, when you think you're going to get in, it's probably going to be another year. So a lot of people thought it was end of last year. Maybe it'll be end of this year. Maybe it'll be middle. I don't know that it's going to be March. I mean, people are like, well, if all the financial companies eligible, SOFI has the highest market cap, but there's plenty of other companies that are sort of bigger names, bigger market caps in other sectors. And I don't know, the S&P didn't seem to be rushing last time to let in like too many of these, fintech companies, but there's already quite a few of them in there. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to get the S&P, and neither does anybody else. It's just extraordinary that they became eligible as quickly as they did after going public. The growth is absolutely amazing, but this false volatility banging the stock off the same lows over and over. And you can see this with SOFI here. I mean, how many times, since these things broke through in August, most of them hit some kind of, highs in late October, early November, just like this. And they were, driven back down. I think this is a prime setup to leg up. I don't think this is going back down to 20, basically because the ER is in, 3 weeks now. And I think the ER is going to be incredible. Some of the YouTubers I watch, Midwest Values, Jimmy Chitwood over at Trending Stocks, he's talking website traffic. You got Tevis, Big Sexy Zorro. He still likes the stock. A lot of your favorite YouTubers love this stock. A lot of chubby YouTubers, a lot of, tiny wing professors out there, a lot of, Shinebox All-Stars, a lot of big talkers, a lot of hot air floating around YouTube, A lot of us have no idea what we're talking about, just proclamating and procrastinating like our tiny wings is something special. Oh, I tell you. What's going on, No Tracks Full? Interesting to see what happens when SMCI posts double. Yeah, I think, guys, I know people think it's crazy because they had the accounting difficulties and stuff, but SMCI just signed a $2 billion credit facility deal led by JP Morgan today. I think it was in the news today anyway. SMCI is going to post insane growth. And if you look at SMCI's chart, I mean, this algo has been working this stock much like NIO since early 2023. I mean, look how many times it bounces off this line. I'm not going to count them all, but it's like 3, 4, 5 there, 6. It breaks down only below the line on this Hindenburg report. I don't think market makers, a lot of the other market makers who weren't in on the scam, really wanted this to happen because this awakened, the sleeping giant, the returder, the tiny wing guy with a few dollars in his pocket, Joe Sixpack, the knuckle draggers out there, the slow pitch softball crew, the guy running offsets on it. Hey, it's not even 4-wheel drive. It's just lifted, but I'm running offsets. I hate people who run offsets on their trucks, just those tires sticking so far out. You just get a bunch of mud all over you. Like me driving a nice, sensible Hyundai, nice, sensible 98 Elantra. Paid off, guys, paid off. So what if it's got 800,000 miles? Seriously, guys, my Hyundai has 800,000 miles on it, still running. Beautiful vehicle. Oh, it's a great car. Let's see. I sure hope so. I got many debit spreads that could set me up for life that expire in May. Interesting. Big baller. I'm going to be in a fight on earnings day, hoping I can watch the live stream. Still, I don't even know if I'm going to do a live stream. Nobody watches my show. It's a total waste of time. What's up, guys? This is our year. You're goddamn right it is, Anthony Skrupuski. Frank the Tank trying to pick up another 90 shares. Excellent, Frank. Good call. Been buying 10 at a time on the dips. Very good, very good. DJ DNA 0746. What's up, everybody? NIO is going to 100 this year. I'm afraid not, sir. I'm afraid not. That would be a 20x within the year. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it happens. A lot of people are speculating that it could go to 20. And I think it can only go to 20 if there are partner cars announced. The economies of scale, the swap network. Now, granted, NIO could add, 500,000 cars this year, and that's great. That's amazing for them as a car company, and growing organically in these, higher end, segments of the automotive. It's amazing if they were just another car company, but they're not just another car company. They're a car company that's expended a tremendous amount of resources building out a swap network. And for that to work, that swap network has to be busy. There has to be millions and millions and millions of cars using it. We got to get our, big brother CATL to get some companies, the governments, these state governments, these, Anhui province, they have to get some partner cars announced. They have to get some buzz. NIO can't carry this all by themselves. I mean, you have CATL, 10 companies online. CATL's, the biggest automotive battery company in the world. They don't need any more juice, because they can push these manufacturers around like crazy. It's like, hey, make a Choco car. We're going to, throttle your allocation and choke off your wiener. Put your wiener in one of those Chinese finger traps. Before you know it, you'll be thumb wrestling. Oh, I don't know. What's that guy's name? Devin Lariat, that real good arm wrestler guy, wrist wrestling. You guys like real wrestling? You ever have a guy come up to you in an AA meeting and ask you what kind of rig you're running? Just wants to know what you're driving. Usually a guy in some running shorts. I don't know. Tanner and Tevis really know their SoFi stock goat, and don't just you don't like the stock goat? I love this stock goat. He looks like a player. He's got the open shirt with the chest hair and the gold chain. Stock goat's gone Hollywood, and I love it. Love it. Frank the Tank's talking wings. Everybody loves a good wing, don't they? It's not funny being a tiny winger. It's humorous. It's humorous, and it's sort of sad, melancholy. Could write a haiku about it. Let's see. I don't even really remember what a haiku is. That's like a few words. I would be super happy with NIO, $10. Yeah, I mean, guys, if your stock doubles in 1 year, that's incredible. Not everything's going to be Palantir and go from, 10 to 200, or Carvana and go from, 6 to 350. When you catch lightning in a bottle, shove your wing in there and supercharge it, because that's the best you're going to do. Or if you can't find lightning in a bottle, use a Tesla supercharger. You just got to get one of those special adapters for your wing. Believe me, it's no joke. 1.21 gigawatts straight into your testicles. It's better than a cup of coffee, I'll tell you that much. Oh, guys, I don't know. SMCI is a joke. I'll say it every day. I mean, it's a joke, but I guess, you're talking about a company that was doing very little sales, couple $2 billion in sales like 5 years ago. And this year, even the most skeptical analysts are saying they're going to do over 30 billion. So, the top line growth is insane. I would actually agree with you that the corporate governance has been a joke. There's no doubt. There's no doubt they have issues. But I just don't think JP Morgan is going to facilitate, making $2 billion available to them for what basically any purposes they would need. I don't think they're going to make these deals on senior secured notes with very sophisticated investors if they were just, a complete fraud. These companies do more due diligence than even somebody like Payush or Not a Lurker or Premium of the Option. Premium of the Option tells the wife he's, I'm gonna go out and do due diligence in the garage, honey. All you know, he's bass fishing, he's fly fishing down there, a big hound dog. Who's gonna catch a big fish? See him as that guy from Best in Show. Who's gonna catch a big fish? Well, we're going to a dog show, so we ain't going fishing. Okay, hope you catch a big one. Hope you catch a big one. Yeah, I'm sure Premium of the Option's not some slack-jawed yokel chewing a sprig of hay. Seems like a very sophisticated investor. All taters. I'm all taters. That was from that show Road Rules. Some guy, big old Southern guy, was like, but I got no meat. I'm all taters. I'm all taters. That was one of that. I guess maybe that's a saying down south. I have no idea. That's hilarious. That's funny. Just have a tiny compressed wang and just huge testicles for no reason. Who knows, brother? I jumped into NIO when it was $1.47. I bought a bunch of shares, made a nice amount of money. It went from 2 all the way to 67 in 2 months. Did it go from 2 to 67 in 2 months? I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to look at the chart. And since I'm here, but NIO, I mean, this trend line is really extraordinarily accurate. And NIO is really, I mean, believe it or not, NIO is really still in a downtrend. I mean, I hate to even say that because, you know, it's painful, but take solace in the fact that all this volume comes in during the uptrend and during this fake downtrend. Again, volume's still pretty high though. And I was expecting institutional ownership to increase again this month. It didn't. It was just flat, maybe inched up. So yeah, that took a little bit of the wind out of my sails, took a little bit of the punch out of my wing, you know, knocked me down from like a 5.2 to a 4.6, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking about, you know, Mustang engines. I'm not talking about a Toyota Tacoma. What do you got, the 5.7 in there? That's a good engine. No, I got the 4.6. That's good too. But you don't get any more fuel economy and you make like way less power. Yeah, but it was $500 less. Well, fuck you. How about that? Guy orders a pickup with a smaller engine. Come on, man. What, you're not compensating for a tiny wang like the rest of us? Get you a big block. Get you a Hemi. Get you a compensator. Well, you running offsets? I'm going to lift this 2-wheel drive truck 6 inches just to make up for the 6 inches I'll never have. Get you a 6-inch lift. Maybe your lady will think you're bigger. Hey, if you run offset, she'll think you're huge. No, I still know you have a small wiener despite your gargantuan pickup truck that won't fit in the garage, and we're getting fined by our HOA. It actually makes your wiener look much smaller in comparison. If your wiener is drawn to scale, I wouldn't even be able to see it next to your giant pickup truck. The only guy who was justified having a pretty giant lifted pickup truck was Lucky in King of the Hill, as voiced by the late great Tom Petty. Rest in peace. I love me some Tom Petty. Saw Tom Petty live a bunch of times. It's on an amazing show. Guy play for hours and hours and hours. Incredible. Yeah, I mean, it could go to 20. It could go to 25. It could go higher. It's made those types of moves. I don't think you can count on that. You have to have something, you know, some huge news, some huge catalyst, partnership, breakout, invention. It's all kinds of things you could see. I mean, Xpeng just, you know, got a license, I guess, to do on-road testing, level 4 autonomy robo-taxis. And they have this same, you know, they say they can go anywhere. We can go campuses, side streets, stuff that's not even mapped. Like the car knows where it is. It knows what to do. And apparently it's pretty good. So, I mean, Tesla's obviously not the only one working on this, you know, these types of robo-taxi models and stuff. AI, large language, whatever the hell it's called. How long we wait for NIO to go? You think another year? Should we just keep buying? I mean, I'm not loading much NIO at this point. I bought some yesterday, but I mean, I have a pretty nice size position. It's not a huge position for me, guys. It's not like a SoFi position because I just believe SoFi is extremely safe and NIO is quite risky. I mean, NIO's done great. They've executed. They built the swap network. I think they make incredible cars. They're incredible value propositions, but there's just intense competition. and they're much bigger players. You could say the same about SoFi, but SoFi is winning. SoFi is taking market share. You know, NIO is starting to do that, but they're just starting. You need to see several years more incredible execution, growth, partner cars before I would call NIO safe. I mean, they're not even profitable yet. And even if they say they're profitable one quarter, I still think they're going to have to raise more money to expand manufacturing. I mean, the partnership with CATL is great, ensures, you know, battery supply, ensures stability. I think it probably ensures the company is not going out of business. Just a tiny 6 months ago, NIO was trading in the mid threes. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then just a tiny couple months ago, it was trading at 8. So the volatility is just, you know, it's just wacky on this one. But yeah, it came down from 8. This is obviously very controlled algo sell-off from 750 all the way down to 472. And then it's just basically been, you know, flattened out right back here where it was. So this is, you know, this is a real round trip here. Anyway, guys, hold on uno momento. To be totally honest with you, I have to go to the restroom. So hey, sorry about that, guys. I had to wash my hands. Un poco mas, guys. Even with an audience waiting, I just OCD. Got to use soap and water. You know what I mean? But yeah, I did, Scott. I did wash my hands. I'm going to be using my mouse. I'm going to be using my keyboard. I'm going to be using my phone. Of course, I'm going to wash my hands. Come on. Especially, you know, considering you're getting old just sucks. You got to pee like every 5 minutes. I'm trying to hydrate, but it's like keep drinking water and green tea. Can't even drink any coffee. All for the reward of running to the bathroom every 5 minutes. Desperation. 50 miles to the outhouse by Willie Make It. Illustrated by Betty Won't. That old one. Let's see, guys. What else were we going to talk about? Anybody have any ideas? I completely agree with you, Steve. I like clutter. I'm cluttered. I'm messy. My desk is not organized. It's how my mind works. But dude, I don't think I ever go to the restroom without washing my hands. And like, you know, when I used to cook, you know, professionally, so wash my hands obsessively, like 3 or 4 times. Biggest fear, at least for me as a, you know, cook in a restaurant, is getting somebody sick. You know, that's what you know. They can not like my food, but I definitely don't want to poison anybody. So I'm having caffeine. I'm trying to cut out sugar. I'm really making a huge effort right now, guys, just to overhaul my my health game, because like, what the hell good is having a huge stock account if you just die of a massive heart attack, you know, really young? As I said, you know, you just do not see a lot of 300-pound guys over 70. You don't really see a lot of 300-pound guys over 60. A lot of us are dropping dead, you know, in our 50s. So scary stuff. And I want to live a long time. Got stuff to do. Got U-turd videos to make to like 2 people. Billy Jacks checking in with some of his sage wisdom. By the way, the hookers in Dallas, Texas are the best looking. That's interesting. That's actually that's the first useful thing you've ever told us, Billy Jack. 3, 2, 1. Let's Poco. Indeed, the great Nautilurker, the great J Money is here. If you guys didn't notice my hat, I hope you did. It says IOVA shorts have tiny wings. So that's this is available for purchase in my members area. So if you want to get the IOVA shorts have tiny wings cap, just join my members area. It's we're charging $100 a week, but you can get a special if you buy 52 weeks, get 1 week free. It's 53rd week. It's basically leap year for free. You get that one. Basically, if you buy a 4-year subscription in my members area, I'm going to give you the leap year day for free. I'm going to give you that February 29th. That falls in concert with the Summer Olympics. Absolutely free. Get all my spreadsheets, get all my I basically will wake you up, give me your personal phone number. I'll call you and just rant at you with some anxiety, insomnia rant in the middle of the night. Just give you a bunch of my opinions, nothing to do with the stock market. I'll run comedy material by you. We'll be besties. All you got to do is pay me a bunch of money. Oh, yeah, no, I know. It's the exception that proves the rule. I know there are guys who, big men who do live, to ripe old age. I get that. But statistically, you're not going to. If the heart attack don't get you, cancer will get you. Obesity contributes to every form of health problems. It's not just, it's not just cardiac stuff. It's everything. And besides that, who wants to go on living if your knees hurt and your hips hurt, your ankles hurt, your feet hurt, your back hurt, barely stand yourself. The move is to get in shape. Stop talking about it and start doing it. But I'm much better at talking about things than doing things. Oh, I'm a big jerk. Anyway. Yeah, Jean-Paul K. Buy Sofi Nafafepo. What kind of Nafafepo are you looking for? Because my buddy makes these hats, so I can get you any hats you want. I'm not going to charge you, but I might make you one for free. Nafafepo, guys, by the way, not financial advice, for entertainment purposes only. I wanted to look at a couple of more stocks. Another one I wanted to talk about was TENX. Guggenheim just made TENX one of their top stocks for 2026. I actually have to agree with this one. Was begging you guys to buy the stock when it was down, way down at just absolute ridiculous lows. When these guys have a layup P3 with a drug with a big market, no competition, this thing's going to sell itself. So Guggenheim raised its target from to 25 from 14, maintained a buy rating. The firm stated its decision to nearly double the price target relies on a specific divergence in the market. That is, while competitors target small patient subgroups, TENX is pursuing a massive untreated population with no current competition in late-stage trials. There's no competition anywhere on the horizon for this drug for HPEF, levosimendan. So Guggenheim noted that TENX has successfully cleared its financial hurdles and that it secured enough capital to fund operations through major clinical milestones of 2026. For that reason, the firm reiterated TENX as a top pick for 2026. This designation, Guggenheim stated, focuses on the anticipation of the first pivotal readout from the LEVEL trial of oral levosimendan. TNX 103 drug is expected in the second half of 2026. Meanwhile, on December 17, TENX conducted a pre-planned statistical review of the first 150 patients in the LEVEL study, and the company said that the review confirmed the trial is powered at well over 90% to detect the drug's effectiveness. In other words, the current number of patients is sufficient to produce a scientifically valid result. Because the data variability was lower than initially feared, the company confirmed it maintains sufficient statistical power without requiring enrollment increases. The target remains at approximately 230 patients, and management reiterated that they expect to finish enrolling patients for the LEVEL study in the first half of 2026, with top-line results anticipated in the second half. TENX Therapeutics, a specialty pharmaceutical company, develops blah, blah, blah. So we acknowledge blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, I'm not saying Guggenheim's call to double their price target or whatever is, the gospel or anything, but this stock they're going to sell a ton of this stuff and they're going to get phase 3 approval. FDA approval. This phase 3 data, they know this drug works. It's been used for decades. A company called Orion sold it in Europe. It was an IV at this point. That's what TENX does. They take drugs and they turn them into oral formulations. They make them better. They make them more accessible. They give them much wider total addressable market. I think it's going to give them much better margins. Because they can still charge a ton for these drugs, but the administration is much, much easier. And of course, as you get, much more scale, you lower your costs, all these good things start to happen as a pharma company. So is this company a buyout? I haven't been really hearing any chatter in that respect, but with where they are in this trial and the likelihood of success and, how much money is to be made, I think it's definitely, but the thing is they're not desperate, so they're not going to do a fire sale because you can get money, you know. But this is just one. People think, oh, it's completely out of gas. There was some warrant overhang there, but I think, there's still plenty of room to the upside in this. But it's better if you can get in at the lows and just, I wouldn't say trust me because, obviously this is not FFEPO, not financial advice for entertainment purposes only. Don't sue me, bro. But sometimes you got to trust, that these lows are what they say. I say they are, which is, fake controlled walk downs designed to get the huge mass of retail investors that hold these penny stocks to run out of patience, to get exacerbated and sell at the bottom in frustration. And then that's when the stock will either run up, really fundamentally, or they'll make a huge pump to run some kind of, share scam to trigger some kind of bullshit. So, one of these, turd balls can come in and make a bunch of money with some crooked financing deal. It happens a lot, but there are some real companies here. TENX is a real company. They got the horrible financing deal out of their way with Roth. They got another better financing deal, which I think was actually led by Guggenheim. So that Guggenheim probably has a lot of shares, probably, explains why they're pumping the hell out of the stock. A lot of you guys were talking about SLS, where's this thing going? Just interestingly, I say this, when they push a stock off the same low over and over, I think that's where market makers want to buy. And if you look at this stock over, let's just a little bit easier on the monthly, but if you look at it on the monthly, you can see that the last 3 days, the stock has come down off of like this, 363, 365. So while the highs have come down dramatically, I mean, the last 2 days, the stock basically traded in the exact same range. Volume came down, but volume's still higher than it was, before this big push. So I think this thing is just kind of regrouping. I think what sent it higher is still going to send it higher. I think it's at least a $5 or $6 stock today, if not more. And I think if this trial turns out how they want it to turn out, you could be looking easily at a $20 bill for each one of your shares. But obviously that would be a 5X. But the danger is getting like a confirmation bias, like a pilot. You just have a narrow focus on your destination, on your conclusion. You could call it a thought bubble, you call it blinders, you call it whatever you want, but you sort of start believing, that it's inevitable that they're successful, that the P3 is going to go through, the drug's so good. And then what happens? There's a hiccup, there's a delay, there's a safety issue, and then you just get absolutely cut in half or even worse. And that's what happens all the time on these penny stocks. And that's why I often say, sell that first run, sell some of your shares, sell part of your shares, take your money back off the table, play with house money. Because, I mean, if you were in this stock, like some of my viewers were backloading down here at $1.44, backloading down here at $2, or backloading down here before this move at 250, I mean, you've already doubled your money in just a few days. Don't be afraid to take profits. Don't always think things are going to go higher, because, when a stock moves from $1 in the 140s to over $5 in just a couple of weeks, some air will come out of that balloon, even if it's ultimately going to go back up. But you just have to understand what you're doing. If you're playing it for a trade, trade it. Don't fall in love with it. If you're going to put a ring on it, put a ring on it. And, buy the dips when they give you, it's hardly a dip when it's, 3 lows, same low 3 days in a row. They're taunting you. They know you have a tiny wang. They know you're insecure. They know you have glorious man boobs. And a game of shirts and skins is probably your kryptonite. Hey, I'll be on the shirts, okay? Nah, your skins. I'm gonna be your shirts. You don't want these man boobs like that scene in Along Came Polly. Ben Stiller gets his face rubbed by those epic hairy man boobs. Good scene. What's up, Pathway? You're the OG. Spitting hot fire. Dylon, 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 Dylon. 4 best rappers of all time. Yeah, Celsius. I'm in Celsius. I was buying the dip. I mean, I mentioned it several times on my show. I don't think I've done a show actually about Celsius, but I have quite a bit of Celsius, and I was buying that dip on the write down for like the Pepsi. They changed distributorship all through Pepsi's network, and they got this huge, they got nailed on the stock for the write down, and then it was these fees they had to do. And then, but Pepsi was going to reimburse them all those fees. I just thought it was one of those, crazy, crazy dips. But yeah, I bought it. I think Celsius is a really good buy. Is it still a good buy? I think it's a fair buy. I don't think it's like a screaming buy like it was on the dip, but the growth is there. I think the market share is there. I think they have some innovative stuff in the pipeline that's not necessarily, in the public eye as yet, but with IOVA, guys, the price fixing is rich, but you see, I didn't redraw this. I drew this wedge a while back on this chart, and then you notice what happens. It breaks out of the wedge after, fighting here with this huge candles, huge volume. Actually, the huge volume was here. The volume comes in here, and then it comes down and it tests the line, exactly for 2 days. 2 good tests. So I think this thing's really ready to pop back up, above this $3 level and, kind of break out of this resistance. It's kind of been stymied in this, 285 to $3 range a couple of times now over a longer period of time. But I don't think there's downside from here. I mean, the revenue is increasing a little bit slower than we would have liked, but at the end of the day, you're shorting, novel cures for cancer that could work better than anything else out there. I mean, with the non-small cell lung cancers, the market is absolutely massive. I mean, you guys saw what happened to SMMT, that stock, and somebody was telling me, oh, it didn't do this. You guys have to understand how to read charts. I mean, people were, leaving these comments explaining to me, oh, it didn't make this range. It didn't make this range. You couldn't have sold here. You don't know what I'm like, dude, I did. It did go over 30. And I watched the founder, one of the insiders buy $100 million worth in the open market. When you see a guy buy $100 million worth of shares in an open market buy, just take notice, because they probably know something. I made a tremendous amount of money on that one, and I think I'm going to do the same with IOVA. I don't think it's going to be quite as explosive quite as soon, but I just think data, success. It's going to build, and people are going to have to notice it as long as they can keep their finances in good enough order that they don't do, some type of devastative dilutive offerings. Because let's be honest, they're running out of money. I mean, you could say they're ready to go to H2. Basically, if you're, have enough money to get into H2 2026 and it's already H1 2026, that means you're basically at the end of walking the plank. Like, they need money now. It's like, you don't want to get to zero. You don't want to get to where you're trying to keep the lights on. If you're within a year of your runway, you need to raise money now. The sooner you get to zero, the more desperate you get, the worse deal you're going to get, generally speaking. So anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Elf on the Shelf indeed just ran up a bit this week. Been buying Elf on the dip. Howard Stern of YouTube. Yes. Ben Stern is my biological father. Also is Anthony Noto. I was starring in the show My Two Dads. Ben Stern and Anthony Noto. No, what's up? Nautilurker, the great Nautilurker is here. I wish they'd give me some of that serious money. I'd take you guys all out for a nice steak dinner. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm way funnier than Howard Stern, but the market disagrees. Mr. Market says, nay, fat man. You shan't be enjoying a comedy special. You're going to be mopping the bathrooms at the Boom Boom Room, big man. Man boobs aren't funny. Not after Y2K. Anyway, nice steak salad. You guys headed over to the Steak Smith? Anybody want to go to the smokehouse? Hey, Kingsley. Danny, you got more SoFi shares from Santa and not that DNA test. Yeah, definitely don't take any DNA test. You're going to have a little tight coming in, taking all your shares for child support. I know he has more SoFi shares. He has them hidden in Switzerland. He has them up his ass. He keistered them. You guys don't keister your SoFi shares. They're going to smell bad. I'm going to take a look at CRISPR. CRISPR, again, look at this trend line. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. I know it broke down a little bit here, but it regained the trend line nicely. You see the moving averages doing some little, silly little cross. You see the 150-day crossing over the 50-day, sort of almost. But you see a test here, basically coming off of this trend line. It broke down here, so I'm not saying it's necessarily going to hold up, but it looks pretty good to me. I mean, I think the upward trend line is still intact. I mean, the stock is still making, higher lows, which is really what you look for. It controls an uptrend. The lows control an uptrend. The highs control a downtrend to a high degree, to a great degree. I guess I shouldn't have repeated high there, but SoFi earnings coming right up Friday. It's 3 weeks from tomorrow, guys. It's right around the corner. So market makers have 16 trading days to rearrange the deck chairs on their short bus Titanic before they just get, that old Archie slap from my papa, my proud papa, Tony Notes. Let's see. Hey, let's hit the early bird at Texas Roadhouse. People talk down on Texas Roadhouse, but I'm a fan. I like the atmosphere. I like a nice tough ribeye. 6,000 calorie baked potato. I gotta say, with Texas Roadhouse, I'm probably more a fan of the sides than the steak. Then again, you don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle, motherfucker. Yeah, SoFi earnings are coming up. Always count on not a lurker. We know that, not a lurker. No, I'm just joking. We're huge not a lurker fans here doing Pokemoss. Let's see. Is there anything really to report about CRISPR? Not really. This is all price action. This is a very, very heavily shorted stock for no particular reason on purpose. With SoFi, they were shorting it again today. I remember short interest was just down to like 8%, I think, and it's back up to, and yesterday, cost to borrow max spiked to 6%, which is a highly unusual event. I haven't seen that forever with SoFi, to be honest with you. And you still have, shares on loan spiking a little bit here recently, which leads they might try to, formulate some kind of a tiny Wang weak sauce counterattack, some kind of a picket fence play. I'll let Jimmy Chitwood, but, might use Jimmy as a distraction, have Strap take the last shot. He's probably busy praying at the end of the bench. We'd have Ollie take the last shot. Should have had Ollie take the last shot in Hoosiers. Little underhand granny style free throw. Deep 3-point land. I don't think there were any 3-pointers back in the day. Hickory. Oh, it was a simpler time. My pappy's from Hickory. My mammy's from Mayberry. I'm from Los Angeles. Just a simple fat man with man boobs and a dream. You guys would not believe the level I'm man boobing at right now. Man boobing at an elite level. Like that guy who gets rich people in shape. You make more than $150,000 a year. You got a tiny wang that makes you insecure. I can help you. It's not how rich people train. We don't go to the gym. Fuck that. We buy courses online. We get in shape through the internet. We inject our buttocks with stuff. We take bronzer and tanner. We dye our goatee gray to try to add credibility. That's what we do. If you don't make $150,000 a year, you can go fuck yourself. Fitness isn't for you, fat boy, you poor fat fuck. I love that guy. He's so tall and tan. He's so if you're fat and you're rich, I can help you. If you're fit and you're poor, I respect you. If you're fat and you're poor, your wife's just going to fuck one of the neighbors who's in shape and has abs, and there's nothing you can do about it. Listen, doughboy. I love that fucking guy. Who the hell is this? Let's see. Sorry guys, just thinking about something. Old Miss is playing Miami now. Okay, Billy Jack. Yeah, football is way better than this. Claim jumper. Yeah, claim jumper is good. They had some underrated ribs. Now they're a little bit, steamed, a little bit too mushy, but they had some decent ribs, decent burger. I'm not mad at claim jumper. I've eaten a claim jumper a time or two. Okay, I've eaten a claim jumper many times. Sounds like Stiller from Dodgeball. Yeah, I love Dodgeball. I like to get what do you say? I like to get a mental pump too, as we're reading the dictionary. Hope you don't mind. Michelle was having some digestive issues. What a weird movie. Pretty funny though. Anyway, so CRISPR, yeah. I mean, we could check the short on CRISPR if anybody cares. I don't know. What's the short on 10X? That's it used to have a pretty big short on it. The big short. Yeah, so it's still 15% short. I think that's come down an awful lot. Yeah, because they were short 55% of the float. So that's just come down just desperately. They're still naked short a ton of shares. You have 262,000 shares sold short and only 98,000 shares on loan. Cost to borrow has come down from 277% to 81%, still fairly significant. Utilization 10.3%. That's an erroneous number, to put it mildly. But let's look at the CRISPR short, because there was a big short on that came down as well. What's insider probably buying, I would guess there. Yeah, let's see what this short is doing. Yeah, 23% of the float still, and they're shorting it again today. So, with where this thing's behaving in the channel, I don't think that's a smart short at all. But taking a look at BitMiner, this has been in a nice little wedge, and I keep saying, like, they keep banging this thing off the same lows over and over and over again. And I frankly think the bears and the shorts are a little bit out of. There's not a big short. There's obviously a lot of bears, pushing down on the stock for their own reasons. Probably because they hate it. But I think they don't like Tom Lee's glasses. He looks like something. I don't know. I find it a little troubling following this executive team into battle. That's just me. I mean, when you're rewarding, the chairman for hitting certain, market caps, I guess I don't know. It's a weird company. It's a weird structure. I am bullish on Ethereum right now. So, I don't know. I like it at these levels, but oh, sorry guys. I don't know what the hell happened. Thanks. You were getting way too much of you of my big giant head. Thanks, J Money. That's why you're the best in the business. Doesn't run off to watch the Miami game like Billy Jack. But then again, we can't all be Billy Jack. We want to be when we grow up. A boy named Sue, but couldn't stand the heat. He changed it back to Billy Jack. He said, I don't know, fuck you, Dad. Didn't toughen me up. Got me stuffed in a locker. Not really. I wouldn't fuck with Billy Jack. But carrying like a 14-inch Bowie knife he bought on Cutlery Corner. We're making a full dealer case of the bumblebees available. We're making it available? Is that with the free katana? Oh, yes. Anyway, sorry, John Paul. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Production values. Well, let not a lurker be in charge of all this stuff. You dodge traffic. Yeah, exactly. And SoFi's web traffic was just through the roof, people were saying. I was taking a look at it. And that's what data was indicating to me as well. Not that my data really means anything, but where the hell was that? There was some chart I was seeing, which was SoFi web traffic versus like lending clubs. I mean, this is just hilarious. Like this guy Switzer, he's rated SoFi in the last year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ratings in the last year. And I mean, how much credibility do you have if like just this year in April, you're a sell at 11 and then you're a sell again like a week later at 12 and then you're a sell at a week later at 13 and then the stock runs up to 32. So, if you sold at 11, you would have just missed out on like a triple. But, You just do what you're going to do, which is what they tell you to do. I don't see any analysis in any of this because, like, what's causing a re-rating about, again, like about an offering closing, or there's just nothing to re-rate. So Bank of America downgrades, and then Goldman downgrades, and then KBW downgrades. The three amigos of FUD. You had Morgan Fudley and that no-neck dude who looks like a wrestling champion downgrading to 18. They're chasing the stock. They've been chasing the stock. They've been wrong about the stock, but it's just a wet blanket. Like, that's your job, is just to get retail to believe this, creation myth that SoFi is overvalued at any cost. You have to sell that SoFi is overvalued no matter what you do. Kramer's selling it. Everybody's selling it. And here's the whole thing about SoFi, guys. And I hate to harp on SoFi, but yeah, thanks, Sean. But thanks, guys, for just helping me out, because obviously I don't have a huge production staff here in the studio. Even QT isn't here today. But here's the thing to keep in mind about these calls and about SoFi and about even the analysts that are doing the actual work. If you put in, garbage in, garbage out, as the phrase goes in science, like in the lab, like if you put in bad data, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how good your models are, you're going to come to the wrong conclusion. So when you look at SoFi, how they've been growing, what the projections are, they're always sandbagging. They have new products that we don't know about yet. We know business banking is going to come on. We know they're going after, the brass ring, or, it belongs to my dad. That's even weirder. Anyway, they're going after crypto every which way but loose, blockchain, stablecoin, all these buzzwords. But also, I think they're just going to absolutely blow up their lending business. Not just the loan platform, but the actual lending they do. I mean, they can lend out this money they raised to make money, but I don't think that's the intention. I think they're going to buy out some kind of crypto company or something. I think Noto wants to make a huge deal with crypto and spike that stock to $45, get his stock options, finally claim his illegitimate fat son, retire to the Caribbean on our own island, SoFi Island. Get your money right. Get you a private island. Buy SoFi. Nafa Fetbo. Don't sue me, bro. Nafa Fetbo. My lawyer has indicated that if I say Nafa Fetbo enough times, it gives me qualified immunity. Name and badge number, motherfucker. Sir, this is a Dairy Queen. In that case, I'll have a Blizzard. You guys like First Amendment auditors? Who's your favorite First Amendment auditor? I like Jeff Gray. God bless the homeless vets. He's probably one of my favorites. Plus, he's a big fat guy, which I love. I believe he was a former Navy man. Can't remember. Maybe Army. Can't remember. I think he was Army, actually. I just assumed fat people were in the Navy, but that's a bias on my part. Because I'm fat and I like boats. Anyway. So the Tiny Wang gang attacks SoFi. What else is new? You got a Tiny Wang, you're super angry. I already talked about Super Micro. They just announced support for this, what's the new processors NVIDIA just had coming out? Vera Rubin platform enter production. I don't think it's an all new processor, but like it's a new iteration or something. I didn't read this that carefully, but this is the one I was talking about. Supermicro announces entry in a new revolving credit facility. So it's announced in a definitive credit agreement, so senior revolving credit facility with JP Morgan Chase as administrative agent and a syndicate of lenders. So it'll aggregate commitments of $2 billion as maturity date, the end of 2030. Borrowings on their facility may be used for basically anything they want to use it for. And Uncle Chucky was out, touting this as a positive development for the company. Of course he was. And Robinhood, this is another great example of, sort of started to break out in August and then really broke out in September, hit the highs. We were talking about double the highs in October, November, tried to make, recover there and keep going in December and then just cut back. So you see again, Robinhood bouncing off this 115 level once, twice here, and then it breaks down, but then again 3, 4, and 5 times. So only 5 times in the last in the same period, SoFi might have bounced off the same low, 9 times or something. But SoFi is one of those special stocks that market makers have made a special project a la Llewellyn Moss, where they just say, this, you ain't going to have to come looking for me at all. I'm going to make you a special project of mine. And that's a stock like SoFi, a stock like NIO. You see, these epic walk downs, hold downs, where they just try to drown the stock in the bathtub and basically get as many of retail investors to give up, let go, come up for air, sell my shares at the bottom, sell the dip, and smell the rip, because after all, that's what they want you to do. And then Palantir, Palantir has actually recovered more strongly than most. You see it closed here today at 175, but look how many times they've banged it off this low at 175. Now, came up and broke down, but then really made its move here, consolidated right in this channel between 185 and 170 for a long, long time. Came off this low right about here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times, 7, 8, 9 times, 10, 11, 12. How many days? I mean, how many days can they, you hear the narrative, the insiders selling, and I still believe Palantir is, overvalued fundamentally myself, just dramatically overvalued. I mean, I think the stock, I think you should be trying to, if Kramer wants to talk about buying SoFi at 120, I mean, I don't know where this thing goes. I mean, I think it could easily go here to 146, check up there, start to leg up again, because that's kind of where this move stopped looking funny, but maybe 157 area. I don't know. It's just when I see these pumps in the gap, I mean, it's obviously already filled the gap here and then some, came all the way down to 147. But that's been another area of support here. Sort of algo wants to buy here. If the algo is like, hey, we want to buy here. If we can't buy here, we want to buy here. If we can't buy there, we want to buy there. We definitely don't want to buy up here. We want retarders to buy up here. Only U-turders chasing 200. But as firm, yeah, a firm's been really, sort of on an uptrend here. It's meeting significant resistance here at the 82 level, which is kind of where it started, this double hump, San Onofre style pump and dump. But I'm not a big, I have a few shares of a firm, just a leftover tracking position, but not that many shares. Prairie, I think, is going to absolutely explode. They've been holding this one down. You see, pushing down below the 50-day, and then basically bottomed out here where these two lines cross, these two trend lines. This held up for a long, long time. The stock's not going to go back below zero, and it's been, consolidating now for about 4 months after that downtrend and sort of a sideways pattern. So this is definitely accumulation. The dilution is the whole question. How bad is the dilution going to be? Are they going to be able to refinance some of that, buy out some of those, some of that hangover? A lot of people think they will be able to. They have the credit, and they have the cash flow to do it, but time is short, because I think some of that stuff is coming up just next quarter, I believe. So we'll have to see what happens there with prop. As far as Bitcoin, again, it's made the round trip. Is this a good place to buy Bitcoin, or is it going to break? If not, you'd think it has to break back down here to approximately, you have to think it's going to break down here and, try to find support around 70,000. Because there's really not much here. I mean, some little hangover stuff on the chart at 80, 78, 77, but it's really nothing to write home about. I mean, this is the real last market it made that was resistance and may or may not flip to support. But you see this kind of hinge almost all the way back down on this one. So you could draw a line here, downtrend. You could draw a line. Can't really draw an uptrend here. It's pretty sketch. I don't know. I don't know where Bitcoin's. I think ultimately Bitcoin goes higher, but is there more pain ahead? I don't know. I like it as a buy here personally. What the hell else was I going to talk about? I don't know. NIO's been rough. You got to defer to the guy. Rune hates the stock. And quite frankly, if you bought it at 70, yeah, it's been rough. It's been a rough road. They burned a hell of a lot of cash, a lot of dilution. But you have to look for those stocks that have been heavily beaten down, whether it be for good reason or no reason or whatever, that are, turning the ship around, righting the ship, have things moving in the right direction. That's, I think, when you want to buy out of that basement. But a lot of people would rather wait for a move, wait for a lot of confirmation. I think you just missed too much, because I just don't think there was much downside under 5. Now here it is at 475, but I wouldn't be upset if I bought at 5. I wouldn't be upset to buy here. Maybe buy tomorrow. Just have to see. I mean, I don't know how far they're going to push down for OPEX. They already killed it down at 5. I don't know how many options, would be at like 450. Can't imagine that many. Hopeless retail bulls generally buy bullish options outside of the money anyway, that expire worthless, like our dreams. Already sleeping. Been sleeping, hibernating for like a year now. Come on now. Anything else you guys want to see in terms of short interest? Just let's see. What's up, Beach Boy? How you doing? Scott, Timmy, look at the head on that guy. Anyway, yeah, if you guys don't care about nothing, I don't care about nothing. Let's take a look at the heat map. Just see what was happening today. Pop that down to pop that down to the last day. See what's happening. Sorry, I think that was yesterday. I never know how these things work. Yeah, I think that's today. Yeah, so NVIDIA's down. NVIDIA is a really nice buy. I don't know that I would love Broadcom here. I think I might have a little bit. I don't like Intel. I'm just not convinced that their new processor that everybody's so high on is going to be competitive. But, that's just me. It's an interesting day. Visa down, MasterCard up, all the pharma companies down. Banks up across the board. Banks are going to do very well, increasing demand. I don't know, though, because there could be a lot of defaults, certainly shaping up that way. Industrials were up. Let's see, was that consumer cyclicals up? I don't know. It's cutting off half this thing for some reason. There it is. Oil was obviously up. Exxon up 3%. Defense contractors were a snapback. Lockheed, I think I looked down, they were up like 7% at one point this morning. Yeah, healthcare was up. United Health. You had some of these other, Abbott Labs, some of these down, other healthcare down, but health insurance companies seem to be up. This is Intuit. Adobe's been off the charts. SanDisk was going completely wild this morning, I think or was it yesterday? It was up like 25, 30%. Just wacky. Amazon, I think, is a really good buy here. If you don't like Microsoft, maybe you like Amazon. I can't advocate for buying Tesla at these valuations until I understand more about their robot business and robo-taxi business. And are they actually that far ahead of the Chinese? I don't know. I think regulatory issues are going to be very, very difficult. Americans, particularly in the current political climate, have soured on EVs to a large extent. So we'll just have to see where that goes. ALAB. No, I don't know that one. What is it? Oh, Astera. Yeah, I've heard of this. I honestly don't. Astero Labs. I've heard people talking about this stock, but I don't know really much about it. With a market cap of 28 billion, semiconductor sector, significant EBITDA, markedly above the sector average. I always just glance at the shorts just for shits and giggles. Short is not that much at 10%. Let's take an overview, see what's been going on with this bad boy. Wow, hell of a sales ramp. Yeah, it looks like I think I looked at this one before. They more than tripled sales, and they're going to double sales, and they're going to increase sales again. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty compelling. I don't know what their debt situation is. Net debt, debt. So yeah, don't really have much debt. I don't know about cash, but gross profit margin looks really strong. Yeah, I don't really know anything about this company, but just glancing at the fundamentals looks pretty freaking good. Looking at the chart, I don't know. Who knows about charts, you know? You know what I mean? It's just a big clusterfuck. So is this a daily? I never know how these charts work on Ortex. Oh no, this is like a 1 year. So yeah, it's a very similar chart to the rest of these. I mean, they keep wanting to sort of push it off of this low in the 140 to 150 area, kind of bang it off there, and they got it. I see a slight uptrend. Kind of, I see it hooking, and I see some volume come back in. So I don't know. Looks fairly promising to me, but I just don't know enough about it to really say. Seen Rocket Labs lately, quite the performance. No, I haven't. I don't own Rocket Labs, very much of it, so I don't know what it's been doing, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, it's been moving back to all-time highs up there, getting some re-ratings. Yeah, it's quite a move. I mean, I was just down here at $40, $40 a month ago, 6 weeks ago. Hell of a move. What's been going on with it to push it up? Big catalysts are ahead. Corporation outpaces stock market. Shares are sliding. Sky valuations, big risk. I don't know. This is just one of those companies. It's very speculative. It's very risky. Obviously, kind of just by the very nature of it, one event or certain announcements can move the stock up or down. But it's definitely a. Sorry, I was trying to see if I accidentally turned my mic off. It's definitely a compelling name, and it's exciting. And if you just double your money in the last month, you're very, very happy. I missed out on most of these Rocket Labs, just like I miss out on all the good runs. But yeah, no problem, Jean Paul. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I have such a busy schedule. I have so much work. I tend to focus in on stocks that I want to own, I want to trade, I want to buy, I want to do options on. And then the other stuff, I just don't have time to follow that closely. But I do kind of look at earnings reports, and I try to analyze how it all fits with the overall puzzle of the markup. Because if you don't understand how individuals, companies are doing, you're probably not going to understand what's going on overall. I kind of, whether you interpolate or extrapolate, that's up to you. Whatever you do in the privacy of your own home, it's none of my business. Anyway, guys, I don't know if I was going to talk about anybody else. I think that's about it. I think that's been more than long enough. But anyway, guys, yeah, I don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow. Obviously, traditionally, they push down a lot on Fridays for OPEX because retail, traders just keep buying tons and tons of these weekly short-dated call options just outside of the money. So it provides just too big of a juicy target for market makers to come in and kill those options, I think. But some of these stocks are just the pattern, the hold, the price fixing just doesn't really make sense when you look at the low volume of options. So I think they're controlling it for other reasons, just perhaps to trade it, perhaps to trade you, clip your nuts, take advantage of you, whatever. I don't know. Think of the florist in the town with Ben ASSFLECK. He's like, your mom doped up real good. You got a giant forehead on your son. It's not a very good Forrest impression. It's more like Forrest Gump. Anyway, guys, I got to run. This has been just exciting. I think SoFi could go. SoFi is obviously a lot of buying pressure on the stock, but Bitcoin and the crypto world very, very shaky. Keeps wanting to revert back down to these lows, but I personally think market makers are just starting to want to own Bitcoin. I think it's going to drive the price up. I think S&P 500 inclusion is coming sometime this year for SoFi, but it could be toward the end of the year. But I'm patient. I'm going to own the stock for years and years and years. So just have to see where it goes, roll with the punches. Try not to worry about price action unless it means something, unless it's connected to some fundamental or catalyst. If the stock drops for no reason, you just can't worry about that. That's just market makers doing their shenanigans. And as long as you don't sell the dip and smell the rip, you really have nothing to worry about. Yeah, tell your friends, hey, there's this big fat guy talking. Anyway, yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Not a Lurker, J Money. Yeah, SoFi makes more money than Rocket Labs. Rocket Labs still negative, but everything's negative earnings until it's positive. So I don't really hold that against them, but it's just you have to. It's not are they making money now? It's what is the path? What is the market? How sure is it? What is the probability they get there? And with SoFi, I think the probability they get there is as close to 100% as anything I've ever seen. I mean, I think SoFi has built a very impressive business. And I think that, like I was saying about the models, I think I got sidetracked as my brain is wont to do. But, their CAGR assumptions are so far off, that I just don't think there's any useful information in a lot of these models. If you start modeling for 17 CAGR and it turns out to be 29, I mean, imagine how far off you are especially over a period of 5 years. I think SoFi is going to grow faster than anybody thinks. I think they have more products than anybody thinks. Rocket Labs isn't a meme company anymore. They bought liquidated material on launch sites of Virgin that collapsed and signed big contracts. Yeah, I've definitely heard the news. No, I didn't. It's not a meme stock. I mean, they're a real company. You just don't know if they're going to get there because there's a lot of these billionaires trying to, make these space companies, all of the rockets look like wieners. Talk about overcompensation. I'm going to build a giant rocket company where everything looks like a wiener. Can we make the, detachable fuel tanks look like testicles? Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I'm, nothing against Rocket Lab. I just don't know it. I don't own that much. I don't know it that well. That's all. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. you know, there's so much I don't know. It's absolutely limitless. It's an infinite breadth of material that I'm blissfully unaware of. But no, yeah, Rocket Lab's obviously very hot. Now, is it a buy after it just doubled? That's something you got to figure out. But anyway, guys, let's just take a look at they really love to hit SoFi in the post market too. And it does this weird thing. The volatility today was really insane in terms of the 1 day on SoFi. It just, right at open, they pushed it to, 27.22. And then it fell, no, at open, it fell to below 27, and then 27.22, and then 26.60. And it was just doing this crazy dramatic ping pong, and then flattened out toward the end of the day. Of course, they pushed down, right toward the close and post market. What a big man you are. Anyway, yeah, SMCI, I think it's going to go on a massive run coming into earnings. I think earnings going to be really good. I think it's going to run after earnings, but we'll just have to see how it goes, guys. Sorry, Sanji. I see your messages now. They're not going through the screen. No, I see you down there. Messages are coming through on the broadcast, my friend. Your messages are coming through. Options are nice, both on SoFi and Rocket Lab, different price levels, cash cows both, as long as J Money doesn't kick the bucket. I think J Money's healthy as a horse. I think it's me you got to worry about. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching Un Poco Moss. They call me all sorts of stuff, but it's all boring and not very funny. It's a tired bit, and I'll spare you. Peace. I'm out, motherfucker. Sorry, missed the button.